Please rise, ladies and gentlemen. The 16th Sangguniang Panlalawigan is now convened for its 52nd regular session. The Honorable Vice Governor Adeline M. Angeles presiding.
The 57th regular session of the Sangguniang Panlalawigan is now called to order. Requesting the gentle lady from Santa Cruz, Honorable Rihano, to kindly lead the invocation to be followed by National Anthem, Marinduque March, and Board Members' Creed, to be led also by Honorable Rihano.
In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Dear God, as we go through another phase of our legislative work, always guide our intellects and our hearts. Make us both receptive and sensitive to the political ideas and opinions of our fellow board members. Remind us of the reality that although we are diverse in our views and our advocacies, we are one and united towards pursuing lasting progress and prosperity for the Philippines, that we all strive to ensure the welfare of our citizenry for whom we have committed to serve. Dear God, instill in us always, in our thoughts and our needs, the sense of responsibility to the Filipino people. Enlighten us always that we may perform our duties and with transparency, industry, and integrity. Dear God, as we go to fulfill our mandates to legislate laws, aims, and uplifting our lives and safeguarding the interest of our citizens, always make us remember that all this to make true and commitments to the nation building that will eventually redound to the growth and development of our Filipino nation. All this we pray and thank you, our Almighty God. Amen. Amen. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Bayang magiliw, pelos ng silanganan, alam ng puso, sa dibdib mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, tuyat ka ng magiliw, sa manlulupit, di ka masisingil, sa langan at punot, sa simoy at sa langit mo kamang, ay nilang ang tula at awit sa paglayang pinamahal. Ang isang nanwatawat mo'y nagumpay na nag-iibig, ang bituin at araw niya kailan ang maliwantinig. Parang araw na aking pagsitang, kaya namin sa ating ko. Aming ligaya naman ay mamagin, salamat ay dahil sa'yo.
Nakangiyas ng bansa, at amoy bigay batwala, mga dagat mo tinalupa, sayaman ay salagana. Iyong kakapinog at kabulukan, kaya malagang kalikasan, ikalang Diyos sa aming ligan. Ingatan ang karapatan, halina at ating itong nagyamanin. Ano pa ingay ating bungkalin, pagkasalayin ang ating kamit, umulat ang bayan natin. Kaya namin minamahal, pangawit katahimikan. Sino man sa iyo ay mananan, ligaya ang nakakamtan. Sa puso't isip ng iyong mamamayan, kaya bumili ang iyong yaman. Magsuwakanan ang iyong makilang, Marinduque ang lingkod yan.
Members Creed. I am a provincial board member, given the mandate to serve my twincy through responsive and effective legislation, provide dynamic leadership, promote and maximize the delivery of basic services for the general welfare, under the regime of a truly consultative and participative democracy. I impose myself the supreme obligation to perform and carry out the functions prescribed by law, unselfishly and with utmost dedication, thereby becoming a genuine catalyst of change in my locality and our nation. So help me God.
Thank you, Honorable Mercy Rejano. Magandang hapon po sa ating lahat. Requesting our good secretary to kindly call the roll.
Honorable Mark Julius Picaballes, Honorable Aurelio J. Leva III, Honorable Antonio L. Mangkukang III, Honorable Bernardine Opis Mercado, Honorable Melga Balaren Cabo, Honorable Mercedes Arejano, Honorable Danilo Arred, Honorable Ismael D. Pilim, Honorable Jose Neril L. Manggol, Honorable Baldomero L. Limpiada, Honorable Lorena Rosales. Madam Presiding Officer, with the 10 members of the board present, we have the necessary quorum for this afternoon session.
The chair then declares the presence of quorum. So yes, our floor leader is recognized.
Thank you very much, Madam Presiding Officer, and good afternoon. For the reading and the adoption of the minutes of the previous session, may I move that we dispense with the reading of the minutes of the session dated August 23, 2023, and consider the same as having been read without prejudice to the corrections to be made by the members of the board. I so move.
There is a motion from the floor leader for us to dispense with the reading of the minutes without prejudice to the corrections. Any corrections from the floor? Yes, Honorable Leva.
Madam Presiding Officer, so since no member of the board manifested any correction, I move that we approve and adopt the minutes of the 51st regular session dated August 23, 2023. I so move.
There's a motion from the floor leader for the adoption of the minutes of our session last August 23, 2023. Any objection from the floor? The chair hears none. Thus, the minutes of our 51st regular session dated August 23, 2023 is now adopted.
Madam Presiding Officer, before we proceed, may I seek recognition of the gentleman from Santa Cruz, the Honorable Ismael D. Pilim.
Honorable Ismael Lim is recognized. So we have a complete attendance today.
Madam Presiding Officer, inviting members of the board who have some matters arising from the minutes.
Any matters arising from the minutes?
Since there's no member of the board rise for matters arising from the minutes, we now go to the approval amendment of agenda.
Proceed,
We have
Honorable Leva.
one privileged speech for today's session, no question hour. For the messages of and correspondence from the governor, we have 5 items plus 1 additional item. This is with regard to the letter from the governor regarding the memorandum of agreement for the Battle of Pulanlupa. Then for the communications and petitions, we have 3 items. For the municipal ordinances, for the review of the board, we have 1. We don't have any proposed ordinance. We don't have any proposed resolution. Originally, we have 2 items for the committee report, but we have 1 additional item to be rendered by the Committee on Local Economic Enterprise. So we will have 3 items for the... We don't have any unfinished business. We have 2 items for business for the day. We don't have any unassigned business. We don't have any proposed ordinance for third and final reading. Madam Presiding Officer, may I move for the approval of today's agenda as amended?
There's a motion from the floor leader for the approval of an amended agenda for today's session. Any objection? The chair hears none. The amended agenda is now approved.
Madam Presiding Officer, may I ask that we recognize the gentleman from Mogpog representing the Liga ng mga Barangay for his privileged speech.
The gentleman, representative of the Liga ng mga Barangay, Honorable Limpiada, is recognized.
Honorable Presiding Officer and my dear colleagues in this honorable chamber. In the past days, we are again experiencing recurring electric power supply interruptions in the province. These are aside from the scheduled power maintenance operations of Marinduque. In this month of August alone, the following were the reported power interruption. I think I don't have to read this part because we have already our copy. So in our previous meeting with Marinduque, particularly during the time that the governor requested for the declaration of the province of Marinduque as underserved area in accordance with the Microgrid System Act, Marinduque reported that the province has enough supply of electricity since NPC has the capability to supply 15 megawatts, while the province need is only 13 megawatts during its peak, and therefore there is 3 megawatts reserved. Looking at the instances of power interruption above, most of the reasons for brownouts and blackouts are due to NPC plant trippings. Also, although it may sound funny, most of the reasons are electrocuted bats, gecko, or birds. Madam Presiding Officer and my dear colleagues, is there nothing that could be done by Marinduque and or Napocor to address the recurring power interruptions in the province? Our people had long been clamoring for an efficient power supply in the province since frequent power interruptions may cause damage to home appliances, business service interruption, and great inconvenience to the households, particularly when it occurs during nighttime. Although it is beyond our control as officials of the province, we are also being blamed by our constituents as if we are doing nothing to address this concern. Lagi na lang sinasabi, ano baga ang ginagawa ng mga nakaupo. As the voice of our people, I believe that we should act on this matter because it is our mandate under the local government code to promote the general welfare of our people. We should coordinate with Marinduque and Napocor on how power interruption could be lessened, if not totally avoided. Because we also know that there are some technical issues that is beyond human control. Madam Presiding Officer, I hope that this matter be referred to proper committee for immediate and appropriate action. Thank you very much.
In the privileged speech and as agreed by the proper committee, this subject matter is being referred to the Committee on Public Utilities. Thank you, Honorable Manggol.
Madam Presiding Officer, that closes our privilege hour. We don't have any question hour for the reference of business and first reading. May I move for the resumption of the session?
The session is resumed.
Madam Presiding Officer, may I move for the suspension of the rules in as far as the order of calendar of business is concerned, to include the committee report of the Committee on Appropriation and the Committee on Tourism and the Committee on Rules, Laws, and Ordinances. I so move.
The internal rules is hereby suspended as moved by the chairperson of the Committee on Rules.
May I ask that to recognize the chairperson of the Committee on Appropriation for its committee report?
The chairperson of the Committee on Appropriation, Honorable Caballes, is recognized.
Madam,
Yes, Honorable Caballes.
Madam Chairperson, this representation is the chairperson of the Committee on Appropriations. Hereby reports or hereby recommends for the adoption of a resolution authorizing Honorable Governor Presbyterio J. Velasco Jr. to enter into a MOA or Memorandum of Agreement for the provision financial assistance to the LGU Torrijos for the 123rd commemoration of the Battle of Pulang Lupa this year.
The committee favorably recommends. And what is the disposition of the committee with regard to the report?
Madam Chairperson, this representation would like to move for the adoption of the said committee report.
There's a pending motion for the committee report rendered by Honorable Caballes, favorably endorsing the enactment, the adoption of the resolution as mentioned. Any objection? The chair hears none. The committee report is now adopted as rendered.
Thank you po.
Any,
Additional po pala, and that the accompanying, and that the resolution be transferred to the business for the day.
And that the recommended resolution be considered in today's business for the day.
Madam Presiding Officer, may this representation be recognized for the committee report of the Committee on Rules, Laws, and Ordinances.
Proceed, Honorable Leva.
Madam Presiding Officer, this has something to do with the proposed ordinance number 202 of the series of 2023 of the Municipality of Gasan, amending sections 1, 4, and 6 of Municipal Ordinance number 186, series of 2020. This has something to do where there is scholarship program which precludes as recipients those who are already under the assistance, educational assistance under the PORPIS or the Pantawid Pamilyang Pilipino program. That is the only amendment that they made, as well as the qualification where they have a general average of 80 and above as a pre-qualification standard. So, the committee finds the aforementioned municipal ordinance in order and therefore recommends that a resolution declaring municipal ordinance number 202 series of 2023 are valid and within the power of the Sangguniang Bayan to enact be transferred to the business for the day for proper disposition.
Thank you. There is a pending motion from the reporting committee chair of the Committee on Laws and Ordinances for the adoption of the committee report and for the transfer of the recommended resolution in the business for the day. Any objection? The chair hears none. The motion is approved.
For the committee report, may this representation again be recognized. For the committee report of the Committee on Rules, Laws, and Ordinances.
Proceed, Honorable Leva.
Committee report number 218 series of 2023 of the Committee on Rules, Laws, and Ordinances on the ratification of the addendum to the agreement for legal services attached to the letter from the Governor requesting for the ratification of the addendum for the agreement for legal services are the following: Resolution number 688 series of 2020, Resolution number 716 series of 2020, Resolution number 1064 series of 2021, the principal agreement for legal services between the SEDA Law Office and the Provincial Government of Marinduque. The subject matter was originally referred to the Committee of the Whole, led by the Committee on Rules, Laws, and Ordinances, but there were not enough members of the board to constitute a quorum. The lead committee having enough members needed for the deliberation, and because of the urgency of the matter, and with the presence of the provincial legal officer as resource person, assumed jurisdiction and took over the committee hearing, which was held on August 24, 2023. It was agreed upon the discussion that the discussion shall be considered as an executive meeting wherein all information shall be dealt with utmost confidentiality in accordance with the requirements set forth by the internal rules of procedure of the Sangguniang Panlalawigan. The addendum contains the contract of engagement between SEDA Law Office pursuant to the aforementioned previously approved resolutions of the SP relative to the filing of several legal actions against Mark Copper Mining Corporation and its subsidiaries. The committee finds it necessary that the principal agreement for legal services between the SEDA Law Office and the Provincial Government of Marinduque be also ratified in accordance with existing laws and pursuant to resolutions number 688 series of 2020, 716 series of 2020, and 1064 series of 2021 for the Sangguniang Panlalawigan. Recommendation: based on the foregoing, the committee hereby recommends for the following: to adopt a resolution ratifying the principal agreement for legal services between the SEDA Law Office and the Provincial Government of Marinduque in accordance with the existing laws pursuant to Resolution number 688, Series of 2020, Resolution number 716, Series of 2020, and Resolution number 1064, Series of 2021, adopted by the Sangguniang Panlalawigan of Marinduque. Number 2, to adopt a resolution ratifying the addendum to the agreement for legal services between the SEDA Law Office and the Provincial Government of Marinduque in accordance with the existing laws and pursuant to Resolution number 699, Series of 2020, Resolution number 716, Series of 2020, and Resolution number 1064, Series of 2021, adopted by the Sangguniang Panlalawigan of Marinduque. Respectfully submitted, yours truly as chairperson, the Honorable Mark Julius P. Caballas, the Honorable Ismael D. Pilim, the Honorable Neril Manggol, the Honorable Baldomero L. Limpiada. Concurred by the Honorable Melgabal R. Incabo, Honorable Mercedes Ariano, Honorable Danilo R. Red, the Honorable Antonio L. Mangkukang, Honorable Bernardine E. Opis Mercado, Honorable Lauren R. Rosales, and Honorable Adeline M. Angeles. Madam Presiding Officer, the committee prays for the adoption of this committee report.
Thank you, Honorable Leva. Any interpellation from the floor with regard to the committee report rendered? Noting there is none, there is a pending motion from the reporting committee chair for the adoption of the committee report as rendered. Any objection? The chair hears none. The committee report as rendered is now adopted, and the corresponding, is there a motion included in the motion also?
Yes, the corresponding resolution, Madam Presiding Officer, is to be transferred to the business for the day.
And for the two resolutions included in the adopted committee report to be included in today's business for the day.
That's all,
And
Madam.
it is hereby approved.
Thank you very much, Madam Presiding Officer. May this representation again be recognized for another committee report.
Proceed, Honorable Leva.
This is the committee report number 219, series of 2023 of the Committee on Human Resource, Labor and Employment on the proposed Ordinance 16-51 entitled An Ordinance Institutionalizing the Granting of Salary Increase 3 months prior to compulsory retirement and salary step increment for the completion of a postgraduate degree to all provincial government health workers pursuant to Republic Act 7305, otherwise known as the Magna Carta of Public Health Workers, and providing funds for its implementation. Therefore, in consideration of the proposed Ordinance number 16-51, all as above titled, the Committee on Human Resource, Labor and Employment, and to which the subject ordinance was referred, hereby presents its findings and recommendation as a result of the joint committee hearing called for this purpose as follows. Findings: the granting of one salary grade higher to retiring public health workers, as well as the grant of a step increment to those who completed a postgraduate degree, are both allowed and authorized under Republic Act 7305 or the Magna Carta of Public Health Workers. The grant of a step increment to public health workers who completed postgraduate studies cannot be made retroactive to the previous years due to budgetary concerns, but can be made effective January 1, 2023. The PHO and the 3 hospitals of the province shall inform the HRMO of the public health workers who completed postgraduate studies. The completed postgraduate studies of the public health workers must be related to his bachelor's degree and is aligned to his position in the health facility. Number 5, there is no budgetary constraint considering that the grant of a step increment is minimal and is usually incorporated to the province annual budget. Initial recommendation that the chief of hospital shall coordinate with the HRMO regarding the administrative process that must be followed for the proper implementation of the ordinance. That the effectivity of the ordinance shall be on January 1, 2023. Final recommendation: to approve on second reading the proposed ordinance number 16-51 entitled An Ordinance Institutionalizing the Granting of Salary Increase 3 months prior to compulsory retirement and salary step increment for completion of a postgraduate degree to all provincial government health workers pursuant to Republic Act number 7305, otherwise known as the Magna Carta of Public Health Workers, and providing funds in the implementation therefore. Respectfully submitted, yours truly as chairperson, Mark Julius P. Caballes as vice chairperson, Mercedes Arellano as member, Bernardine E. Opis Mercado as member, Jose Neril L. Mangol as member, concurred by the Honorable Adeline M. Angeles, Vice Governor and ex officio member. Madam Presiding Officer, the committee prays for the adoption of this committee report.
Thank you, Honorable Leva. Just before the adoption of the committee report, may the presiding officer be, and also probably the members of the board be clarified. Because if this will apply to provincial government health workers, is there any national law that could justify also the granting of the same privilege to other provincial government employees that finished postgraduate degree?
Actually, Madam Presiding Officer, this is only exclusive for public health workers under Republic Act
The Magna
7305.
Carta. Paumanhin because I wasn't able to finish the committee hearing. But are they, according to HR, wala po bang national law similar to the Magna Carta that could be used as a justification for a similar incentive?
Madam Presiding Officer, there
For
is a
others.
budget guidelines, budget circular with regards to the step increment. I just don't know kung kasama po yun. But meron din po doon na, yun po yung kasunod na pinaplano namin gawin sa committee, yung pong step increment naman ng mga employees outside, institutionalize din po natin kasi ang nangyayari po ay kung kailan lang po nagde-declare yung Sangguniang Panlalawigan ay doon lamang po nilalagay sa annual budget where in fact it should be automatic na sa every budget year ay dapat kinukompute ng Human Resource Management Office kung sino yung mga
Retirable.
mga empleyado na dapat ay may automatic step increment. At kasama po sa step increment ay hindi lamang yung length of service. Kasama rin po yung may outstanding twice two successive rating period na naging outstanding ang kanyang rating is also entitled to step increment. I just don't know kung meron pong kasama kasi yung pong pagiging masteral or doctorate ay add-on naman po sa kanyang appointment or promotion. Yun po ang yun naman po ang doon po naman nagagamit yun. Pero titingnan po natin kung doon sa existing laws ng local budget circular ay kung pwede rin po mabigyan ng same incentive as that of the health workers.
Thank you, Honorable Leva. Maganda po talagang mapag-aralan because the presiding officer, for one, believe that extending the same privilege or incentive to other provincial government employees will inspire them to pursue, yun nga po, higher level education which will help in their continuous learning that will benefit also the province. So maganda po talaga
Yes po.
ma-encourage din sila at isa po ito sa pwedeng maka-encourage sa kanila to pursue postgraduate degree. So thank you po. Maganda pong patuloy na mapag-aralan kung paano po
Okay
ito
po.
mabibigay.
We will do that in the committee, Madam Presiding Officer.
So we'll just wait for the subsequent recommendations
Yes,
of the committee with regard to other issues and concerns.
Yes, Madam Presiding Officer.
But for the meantime, there is a pending motion for the adoption of the committee report as narrated, as mentioned by the reporting committee chair. Any objection to the committee report to be adopted? The chair hears none. The committee report is hereby adopted, and the corresponding resolution will be considered in the business for the day. Thank you, Honorable Leva. Without prejudice to further study of the committee with regard to the other related matters.
Yes, Madam Presiding Officer. Madam Presiding Officer, may I ask that we recognize the chairperson of the Committee on Local Economic Enterprise for each committee report.
The gentleman from Santa Cruz, chair of the LEE committee, is now recognized. Honorable Lim.
Madam Chair, Mr. Presiding Officer, Madam Chair, and our Majority Pro Leader, my colleagues, good afternoon. Madam Chair, I present Committee Report number 2020-2023, Committee on Local Economic Enterprise, Public Partnership and Investment Promotion, with the subject, the proposed creation of a provincial training school as a provincial economic enterprise for out-of-school youth, together with the Technical Education and Skills Development Authority, TESDA. The findings are as follows. Number one, TESDA is in the direction of letting the LGUs establish and operate their own training centers, while the former will provide for the necessary technical and funding assistance, particularly the trainers. And initially, the trainings of courses will be for bulldozer operators, NCD2, rigid on highways, dump truck operators, motor grade operations, NC2, road roller operations, NC2, and backhoe operations. However, without prejudice to the offering of other courses as may be deemed necessary. Number two, the provincial government shall provide for the school venue as well as needed training equipment, materials, and supplies. However, since there is an existing motor pool in the provincial government, and the same can be utilized for training the students. Number three, the establishment of provincial training schools could be an income-generating endeavor. Thus, it can be operated by the provincial government as a local economic enterprise. Number four, establishment of a provincial training school is not included in the calendar year 2023 annual investment program, AIP, of the province and cannot be implemented in the current year. However, initial funding may be provided by the provincial government in the interim. Number five, a MOA relative to the implementation of the said program must be first submitted and approved by the Sangguniang Panlalawigan. However, there should be an available fund first before the governor can be authorized to enter into the said MOA. So the recommendations are, committee recommends for the adoption of the following resolutions. Number one, a resolution appropriating the amount of 250,000 pesos for the expenses to be incurred in the training of trainers and the purchase of training tools, materials, and supplies, subject to the approval of the governor. And number two, resolution authorizing the governor to enter into a MOA with TESDA for the establishment of a provincial training school. Respectfully submitted, Ismael D.P. Lim, Chairperson, Aurelio Levo III, Vice Chairperson, Danilo R. Red, Member, Antonio Mangkukong III, Member, Jose Neril Manggol, Member, concurred by Adrin M. Angeles, Vice Governor and ex officio member. Madam Chair, this committee report, Madam Chair, I respectfully submit.
Thank you, Honorable Lim. Is it possible that with regard to the second resolution, we will include in the committee report that the draft MOA will be attached as part and parcel of the committee report?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Thank you. So there is a pending motion for from the reporting committee chair, Honorable Lim, for the adoption of the committee report as rendered. Any objection? The chair hears none. The committee report is adopted. And any further motion with regard to the two resolutions?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I further move that the corresponding resolutions be included in the business of the day. Madam Chair, I so move.
And likewise, the two resolutions favorably being recommended by the committee will be considered in today's business for the day.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Lim.
Madam Chair, that closes our committee reports. And we now go to the calendar of business. We don't have any unfinished business. The first item in our business.
Before we proceed, Honorable Leva, our session is recorded. And gusto lang nating ibahagi sa ating mga pinaglilingkuran na ang dahilan kung bakit walang masyadong interpellation sa mga committee report ay sapagkat ang lahat ho ng subject matter ng committee report ay dumaan sa masusing pag-aaral na ng mga different reporting committees. na nagsagawa ng mga committee hearings bago magsagawa ng committee report and recommendation. So, ang lahat ng mga paglilinaw, pagtatanong ay nagaganap sa committee level na ina-attendan madalas hindi lamang ng mga miyembro ng committee kung saan ito ay nakarefer, kundi ina-attendan na rin ng ibang miyembro ng Sangguniang Panlalawigan for their advance information and disposition. Thus, the limited deliberation during the committee reporting. This is for public information, and I hope it will be considered in the recorded session for inclusion in the MNN posting. Thank you. Yes, proceed, Honorable Leva. And also maybe just an advance information that para mas makita ng ating mga pinaglilingkuran kung paano ginagawa ang mga committee meeting at committee hearings, there will be committee meetings and hearings that will also be recorded for posting in the social media official sites of the Sanggunian and also in the local cable TV. Maraming salamat.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. We now go to the accompanying resolution of the Committee on Appropriation.
The Chair of the Committee on Appropriation, Honorable Caballes, is recognized.
Thank you, Madam Presiding Officer. Madam Presiding Officer, this representation would like to move for the adoption of a resolution granting the Honorable Governor Presbyterian J. Velasco Jr. to enter into memorandum of agreement with the municipality of Torrijos for the financial assistance of 350,000 pesos for the Battle of Pulang Lupa.
How much is the amount that will be transferred to Torrijos?
350,000.
There is a pending motion for the adoption of a resolution granting authority to Honorable Governor Presbytero Velasco Jr. to enter into a memorandum of agreement for and on behalf of the provincial government of Marinduque with the LGU Torrijos for the granting of 350,000 pesos to be used for the commemoration of the Battle of Pulang Lupa this current year. Any second to the motion? Duly seconded by Honorable Rehano, Honorable Encabo, Honorable Red, Honorable Manggol, Honorable Leva. Any objection? The Chair hears none. The motion is approved. The resolution granting authority to the Honorable Governor, Governor Presbytero Velasco Jr. to enter into a memorandum of agreement for and on behalf of the provincial government of Marinduque with the LGU of Torrijos for the granting of 350,000 pesos for the commemoration of Battle of Pulang Lupa for 2023 is now adopted.
Thank you.
Madam Presiding Officer, may this representation be recognized for the adoption of some resolutions.
Proceed, Honorable Leva.
Madam Presiding Officer, may move for the adoption of a resolution declaring Municipal Ordinance Number 202, Series of 2023 of the Municipality of Gasan, entitled An Ordinance Further Amending Sections 1, 4, and 6 of the Municipal Ordinance Number 186, Series of 2020, entitled An Ordinance Extending Financial Assistance to the Most Indigent but Deserving the Senior High School Students, Grade 11 and Grade 12, for the Municipality of Gasan enrolled in the public secondary schools within the province of Marinduque as valid and within the power of the Sangguniang Bayan to enact. I so move.
Is there any second to the motion? Duly seconded by Honorable Lim, Honorable Encabo, Honorable Rehano. Any objection? The Chair hears none. The motion is approved. The resolution declaring Municipal Ordinance Number 2020 of 2023 of the Municipality of Gasan as valid and within the authority of the Sangguniang Bayan of Gasan to enact is now approved.
Madam Presiding Officer, may I move for adoption of a resolution ratifying the principal agreement for legal services between the SEDA Law Office and the Provincial Government of Marinduque in accordance with existing laws pursuant to Resolution Number 688 Series of 2020 resolutions number 716 series of 2020 and resolution number 1064 series of 2021 adopted by the Sangguniang Panlalawigan of the province of Marinduque. I so move.
Is there any second to the motion? Duly seconded by Honorable Manggol, Honorable Mercy Rehano. Any objection from the floor? The chair hears none, thus the motion is approved. The resolution ratifying the principal agreement for the legal services between the SEDA Law Office and the Provincial Government of Marinduque in accordance with existing laws pursuant to Resolution number 688 Series of 2020, Resolution number 716 Series of 2020, and Resolution number 1064 Series of 2021, adopted by the Sangguniang Panlalawigan of the Province of Marinduque, is now approved.
Madam Presiding Officer, may move for the adoption of a resolution ratifying the addendum to the agreement for legal services between the SEDA Law Office and the Provincial Government of Marinduque in accordance with existing laws and pursuant to Resolutions number 699 Series of 2020, Resolution number 716 Series of 2020, and Resolution number 1064 Series of 2021 adopted by the Sangguniang Panlalawigan of Marinduque. I so move.
Any second to the motion? Duly seconded by Honorable Opis, Honorable Manggol, Honorable Rehano. Any objection from the floor? The chair hears none, thus the motion is approved. The resolution ratifying the addendum to the agreement for legal services between the SEDA Law Office and the Provincial Government of Marinduque in accordance with existing laws and pursuant to Resolutions number 699 Series of 2020, Resolution number 716 Series of 2020, and Resolution number 1064 Series of 2021 adopted by the Sangguniang Panlalawigan of the Province of Marinduque is now approved.
Madam Presiding Officer, may I ask that to recognize the chairperson of the Committee on Local Economic Enterprise for the adoption of a resolution accompanying its committee report.
The Chair, Honorable Lim, is recognized. This is with regard to the two resolutions being recommended by the Committee on LEE.
Madam Chair, with the indulgence of the body, I move that we pass a resolution appropriating the amount of 250,000 pesos for the expenses to be incurred in the training of trainers and purchase of training tools, materials, and supplies, subject to the approval of the Governor, Madam Chair.
Clarification, is it 250 or 280?
250,000.
250,000. There is a motion duly seconded by Honorable Mangkukang, Honorable Red, for the adoption of a resolution appropriating 250,000 pesos for the expenses to be incurred in the training of trainers and purchase of training tools, materials, and supplies, subject to the approval of the Governor. There's a pending motion and duly seconded. Any objection? The Chair hears none. The resolution, therefore, is now approved.
And another resolution, Madam Chair, I
Can
move...
it be done? Can it be included in the title, the purpose of the project mismo?
I concur, Madam Chair.
That is in partnership with TESDA.
No objection, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, I move for another resolution that we pass another resolution authorizing the Governor to enter into a memorandum of agreement with TESDA for the establishment of a provincial training school, provided that the proposed memorandum of agreement be attached in the said resolution. Madam Chair, I so move.
Thank you, Honorable Lim. Any second to the motion? Duly seconded by Honorable Opis Mercado, Honorable Rehano. Any objection from the floor? The Chair hears none. The motion is approved. The resolution authorizing the Governor, Honorable Presbitero Velasco Jr., to enter into a memorandum of agreement for and on behalf of the Provincial Government of Marinduque with TESDA for the establishment of a provincial training school in Marinduque is now approved.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Lim.
Madam Presiding Officer, the next item in our business for today is proposed ordinance number 16-45. May I ask the Secretary to please read the title of the said ordinance.
Yes, Sir James.
Proposed ordinance number 16-45, an ordinance establishing guidelines for the grant of monetary incentives to provincial representatives who excelled in the academic, athletic, sports, and culture and arts competition in the regional, national, and international levels, appropriating funds therefore and for other related purposes, repealing for the purpose Provincial Ordinance Number 89 Series 2010 or the Revised Sports and Academic Awards and Incentive of 2010. Authored by Honorable Danilo Arred, Chairperson of the Committee on Education, Culture, and the Arts. Co-authored by Honorable Lauren R. Rosales, Chairperson of the Committee on Youth and Sports. Sponsored by Honorable Aurelio J. Leva III, Chairperson of the Committee on Rules, Laws, and Ordinances.
May this representation be recognized for the sponsorship of the said measure?
Proceed, Honorable Leva.
Madam Presiding Officer, before us is the proposed ordinance number 16-45 that this is a product of the committee deliberation which increased doubly the price of incentives to athletics, and we also include here the academic representation incentives as well as the financial assistance prior to competition of academic representatives. So, Madam Presiding Officer, on that note, may I move for the opening of the period of deliberation and debate?
The period of deliberation is hereby opened. Any discussion from the floor? Any concerns with regard to the contents of the proposed resolution which is now being presented to the body for second reading? So meron po bang dagdag na paglilinaw from the floor?
Yes po.
Yes,
Meron
the
po
gentlelady from Santa Cruz.
Hindi ko po hinahamon. Paglilinaw lamang po. Kasi siya ay asking for some deliberation regarding this. Ibig ko sabihin ay hindi na po ba sila lalapit sa atin personally ng mga kapag sila ay pupunta sa mga sa
meron po
mga
ditong
okasyon.
Thank you,
kasi
Honorable Rihano.
yan po ay automatic na pupunta po sila sa meron pong body. Ito po yung Awards and Incentive Management Board. Sila po ang mag-evaluate. Saka bago po sila sumali sa competition, ay dapat ay magpa-register muna sila sa awards and incentives. So pero hindi po namin sinama dito yung beauty contest. Yung po beauty contest po ay parang hindi po naman dapat i-institutionalize. Kaya hindi po natin sinama. Yung academic lamang po at saka yung sports.
So, ang sagot po ay there is a committee.
There is a board, the Awards and Incentive Management Board, that will handle. At hindi na po ito madaan from time to time sa atin.
For implementation na lang. So, malinaw po ba ito, Bocal Rihano? Okay po. Yes, Honorable Encabo.
Bukaleba, what if nanalo yung ating participant, ating athlete, and then he was not able to register do sa board? Paano natin ma-reconcile? Or it is automatic na once that they are competing, automatic na naka-register na sila?
Dapat po ay naka-register sila. Kasi,
So, paano po ang process? Pupunta po sila sa board?
ayun po ay i-endorse po ng school.
School,
Po
okay.
ito. Endorse po ito ng school.
Maraming salamat po, Gwapong Bukal.
Thank you, Honorable Encabo. Likewise, in Section 8, it mentions that one of the functions, primary functions of the AMB is to formulate implementing rules and regulations. So, most likely after the adoption, the enactment of this ordinance, the AMB must draft the IRR for the effective implementation of this ordinance. Wala po bang particular period of time sa ordinansa na kung saan kailangang gawin ng AIMB yung yung formulation ng IRR para po dito?
Unfortunately, wala po kaming nailagay, but if there is a necessity to include, we will include that, Madam Presiding Officer. We will include that sa implementing rules 90 days.
There is an observation from the Secretary manifested through the Chair na minsan kapag nakabase pa sa gagawing guidelines,
Natagal.
ng isang committee ay tumatagal.
Tagal, oo.
Ang recommendation niya ay let it just be
If necessary.
as may be necessary.
Necessary.
Kung
As may
kung merong mga subsequent issue pa or policy that kailangang isagawa for the implementation, AIMB shall take the lead in formulation.
and guidelines.
Is the sponsor agreeable to
Yes,
the
yes,
idea?
Madam Chair.
So thank you, Honorable Leva. Any other queries, any other concerns with regard to the contents of the resolution? So again, maybe since it is recorded, if it is an ordinance, the Sangguniang Panlalawigan is prudent enough to deliberate the content of the proposed ordinance using the three-reading principle.
Okay, Madam Presiding Officer,
Yes,
if there's
Honorable
no
Leva.
other discussion, I move that we close the period of debate and interpellation.
The period of debate and interpellation is now closed. We can proceed with Honorable Leva.
I move that we open the period of amendment.
The period of amendment is now open.
The Honorable Butchie Rosales has some amendment.
The representative and chair of the Committee on Youth and one of the authors is recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Majority Floor Leader. With regards lang ho dito sa team or group competition, nalimutan na hong mapalitan. Ito ay dating, ganito rin yung incentives na binibigay ho dati.
Ano pong line item?
Team or group competition, regional level, Madam Chair. Section 9, sa team or group competition of 2 to 4 members, Madam Chair. Regional level.
Okay po. Ano po ang pagbabago na nais niyong i-present?
Kasi ho, ito yung dating binibigay na ho ng provincial government. At ang ating hong proposal dito is the champion ay 30,000 and 6,000 for coach and trainer. 20,000 for first runner-up, silver medalist. 4,000 for coach and trainer. And sa second runner-up po is 15,000. At sa coach and trainer is 3,000, Madam Chair.
This is for group competition. And
Yes, Madam Chair. Sa team or group competition between 2 to 4 members po, Madam.
Thank you, Honorable Rosales. What is the comment of the sponsoring chair?
Accepted, Madam Presiding Officer.
Thank you, Honorable Leva.
Thank you,
The
Madam Chair.
amendment of Honorable Rosales is accepted by the reporting committee chair.
Any other amendment? Yun pong amendment that was manifested earlier is also accepted with regards to the AIMB that implementing guidelines shall be issued when necessary.
Thank you, Honorable Leva. Meron pa po bang ibang additional na mungkahing pagbabago? Kung wala na po.
Madam
Yes,
Presiding
Honorable
Officer,
Leva.
I move that we close the period of the amendment.
The period of amendment is now closed. And what is the pleasure of the sponsoring chair?
Madam Presiding Officer, may I move that we approve on second reading proposed ordinance number 1645 entitled An Ordinance Establishing Guidelines for the Grant of Monetary Incentives to Provincial Representatives who excelled in the academic, athletic, sports, and culture and arts competition in the regional, national, and international levels, appropriating funds therefore and for other related purposes, repealing for the purpose Provincial Ordinance Number 89-Series of 2010 or the revised Sports and Academic Awards and Incentive Ordinance of 2010, authored by Honorable Danilo R. Red, co-authored by the Honorable Lauren R. Rosales, sponsored by this representation, the chairperson of the, co-sponsored by the chairperson of the Committee on Youth and Sports, and the members of the both committees. I so move, Madam Presiding Officer.
Thank you, Honorable Leva. After due deliberation and accepted amendments to the proposed ordinance, there's a motion duly seconded for the approval of proposed ordinance number 16-45 for second reading. Any objection? The chair hears none. Thus, proposed ordinance number 16-45 is now approved on second reading.
Madam Presiding Officer, the approval of third reading will be next session.
Thank you, Honorable Leva. Yes, with the integration of the amendments. Thank you.
Madam Presiding Officer, we ask the Secretary to please read proposed ordinance number 16-48.
Proceed, Sir James.
Proposed ordinance number 16-48, an ordinance integrating certain provisions of Republic Act number 10176, otherwise known as the Arbor Day Act of 2012, to the Marinduque Enhanced Greening Program, amending for this purpose Provincial Ordinance number 208, series of 2023, authored by Honorable Aurelio J. Leba III, Chairperson of the Committee on Rules, Laws, and Ordinances.
Madam Presiding Officer, may I ask that the Chairperson of the Committee on Environmental Protection and Human Ecology sponsor the said measure.
Recognizing the sponsoring chair, Honorable Mangkukang.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Yes, Honorable Mangkukang.
With the indulgence of the Committee on Environmental Protection and Human Ecology, this representation formally moves for the approval in second reading the proposed ordinance number 16-48, entitled An Ordinance Integrating Certain Provisions of Republic Act number 10176, otherwise known as the Arbor Day Act of 2012, to the Marinduque Enhanced Greening Program, amending for this purpose Provincial Ordinance number 208, series of 2023. I so move, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Mangkukang. The period of deliberation is now open. And any deliberation from the floor? Any additional clarification from to the sponsoring committee chair?
Ang nangyari po dito ay, ito po ay approved na, but the governor would like to incorporate yung provisions po ng Arbor Day Act, which nasabi po doon na all able bodies 12 years and above ay should plant at least one tree every year. But dito po sa ordinance natin, ginawa po natin ito na at least 6. Kasi po ang planting period po ng mga Marinduque Greening Program ay 6 months. Meron po tayong planting period na 6 months at meron din po tayong grow na seedlings na 6 months. So at least every month po ay tigi-isa. Tapos sinama na po natin dito yung watershed as proposed by the chairperson as one of the priority areas. At kung ano rin po yung nakalagay doon sa Arbor Day Act. So, in-integrate lang po natin dito yung Arbor Day Act para ma-enhance po natin yung Marinduque Enhanced Greening Program.
Para sama-sama na sa isang ordinansa. So, salamat sa paglilinaw from the sponsoring chair and from the proponent. Meron pa po bang dagdag na paglilinaw mula sa kapulungang ito? So, wala na po. No further deliberation? No further debate? So, there is a pending motion from the sponsoring committee chair, Honorable Mangkukang, for the approval of this ordinance on second reading. Any second to the motion? Duly seconded by Honorable Limpiada, Honorable Encabo. Any objection from the floor? The chair hears none, thus the motion is approved. Proposed ordinance number 16-48 is now approved on second reading.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Mangkukang. So this is just for second reading.
Since there is no amendment, Madam Presiding Officer, I move that this be considered in the ordinance and resolution for third and final reading in today's session.
As moved by the chair of the Committee on Rules, this item is for consideration for third and final reading.
We don't have any unassigned business. For the proposed ordinance and resolution for third and final reading, may I ask the Secretary to please read the entirety of proposed ordinance number 16-48.
Proposed ordinance number 16-48, an ordinance integrating certain provisions of Republic Act number 10176, otherwise known as the Arbor Day Act of 2012, to the Marinduque Enhanced Greening Program, amending for this purpose Provincial Ordinance number 208, series 2023, authored by Honorable Aurelio J. Leba III, Chairperson of the Committee on Rules, Laws, and Ordinance, and sponsored by Honorable Antonio L. Mangkukang III and its members of the Committee on Environmental Protection and Human Ecology. Be it ordained by the 16th Sangguniang Panlalawigan of Marinduque in session assembled that Section 1, Section 2, Provincial Ordinance Number 208, Series 2023 is hereby amended to read as follows. Section 2, Declaration of Policy. It shall be the policy of the provincial government of Marinduque to pursue sustainable development for poverty reduction, food security, biodiversity, conservation, and climate change mitigation and adoption, and to protect and advance the right of the people to a balanced and healthful ecology in accord with the rhythm and harmony of nature. Towards this end, the vital role and importance of trees in ecological stability is recognized. Hence, there is a need for a collaborated effort between the provincial government of Marinduque and its citizenry to combat the loss of natural resources and rejuvenate our environment by undertaking nationwide tree planting activities and providing effective measures for their maintenance and sustainability. Section 2. Section 5 of Provincial Ordinance Number 28, Series 2023 is hereby amended to read as follows. Section 5, Coverage. The Marinduque Greening Program shall be implemented by the province of Marinduque and shall continue to plant target seedlings for a period of 10 years, from 2023 to 2033, in the following lands within its territorial jurisdiction. Number 1, forest land. Number 2, mangrove and protected areas. Number 3, watersheds. 4, civil and military reservation. 5, urban areas under the greening plan of the LGUs. 6, public school grounds, gardens, and other available areas within the school premises. Number 7, idle or vacant public lands. Number 8, public parks in urban and rural areas. And number 9, private schools, parks, and lands with the consent of the owner thereof. Section 3. Section 6.1 of Provincial Ordinance Number 28, Series 2023 is hereby amended to read as follows. 6.1, Social Mobilization. 6.1.1, all able bodies residents of the province of Marinduque who are at least 12 years of age shall be required to plant 6 trees every year during the duration of the MEGP. For this purpose, planting of at least 1 tree every year shall be a requirement in the issuance of barangay clearance, certificates, and other documents from the barangay. Likewise, it shall be a requirement in the availment of financial assistance programs being implemented by the provincial government of Marinduque. 6.1.2, all local government units within the territorial jurisdiction of the province shall be actively involved in the implementation of MEGP. 6.1.3, all officials and employees of the national government stationed in the province, the provincial government of Marinduque, the municipal government, shall plant at least 10 trees per year during the planting activities in areas as to be determined by DENR, PGNRO, and concerned LGUs, and shall not be any more required to comply with the provisions of Section 6.1.1 of the Ordinance. 6.1.4, all graduating students, marrying couples, and parents registering births shall be required to plant trees in accordance with the provision of Provincial Ordinance Number or the Community Tree Planting Ordinance of 2023 of the Province of Marinduque. Section 4, the new Section 7 shall be inserted after Section 6 of the Provincial Ordinance Number 208, Series 2023, and shall read as follows. Section 7, creation of Marinduque Greening Program Committee. In the implementation of the intents of this ordinance, there shall be created Marinduque Greening Program Committee, the composition of which shall be designated by the governor, who shall act as the chairperson of the committee. The vice governor shall act as the vice chairperson. The members shall be composed of the field officers of various government agencies based in the locality but not limited to the following: Chairperson of the Sangguniang Panlalawigan Committee on Natural Resources and Human Ecology, Provincial Government Environment and Natural Resources Office, or the PGNRO, Department of Environment and Natural Resources, DENR, Bureau of Plant Industry, Department of Education, Department of the Interior and Local Government, Commission on Higher Education, Department of Agriculture, Department of Agrarian Reform, Department of Public Works and Highway, Department of Tourism, the Philippine National Police, Armed Forces of the Philippines, Philippine Coconut Authority, Civic Organization, Sangguniang Kabataan, Liga ng mga Barangay, and media associations. All succeeding sections of the same ordinance are hereby renumbered accordingly. Section 6, repealing clause, all ordinances, issuances, or regulations inconsistent with the provisions of this ordinance are hereby revised or amended accordingly. Separability clause, if any part of this ordinance is declared invalid, such parts or proportions thereof not so declared shall remain valid and in effect. This ordinance shall take effect immediately upon its approval.
Madam Presiding Officer, may I just put on record that distinguished chairperson of the Committee on Environmental Protection is also a co-author and a sponsor, as well as the members of the two committees.
As co-authors or sponsors?
As co-sponsors. Madam Presiding
The
Officer,
members of what committee?
the Human Ecology and the Committee on Rules, Laws, and Ordinances. Madam Presiding Officer, to determine the ayes and the nays, may I move for the suspension of the rules so that we will use the e-voting. I move to suspend the rules. We will try the electronic voting.
The rules is hereby suspended as moved by the floor leader. Requesting our good secretary to kindly facilitate the electronic voting.
Madam Presiding Officer, I vote yes.
Honorable Aurelio J. Leva III, Honorable Antonio L. Mangkukang III, Honorable Bernardine Opis Mercado, Honorable Melga Balaren Cabo,
Yes.
Honorable Mercedes Arejano, Honorable Danilo Arred, Honorable Ismael D. Pilim,
Yes, vote.
Honorable Jose Neril L. Manggol, Honorable Baldomero L. Limpiada, Honorable Lorena Rosales. This is based on electronic voting and nominal voting, Madam Presiding Officer. 11 members voted in favor of the motion.
With all the 11 members of this august body voting favorably for the approval of proposed ordinance number 16-48 for third and final reading, without any objection, no abstain, the chair declares proposed ordinance number 16-48 on ordinance integrating certain provisions of Republic Act number 10176, otherwise known as the Arbor Day Act 2012, to the Marinduque Enhanced Greening Program, amending for this purpose Provincial Ordinance number 208 series of 2023, authored by Honorable Aurelio Leva III, sponsored by Honorable Antonio Mangkukang III, co-sponsored by Honorable Julius Caballas, Honorable Neril Manggol, Honorable Limpiada, Honorable Danilo Red, Honorable Ismael D. Pilim, all members of the Committee Environment and Committee on Rules. The chair declares the proposed ordinance number 16-48 approved on third and final reading. Honorable Leva.
Madam Presiding Officer, I move to adjourn.
The session is adjourned until next Friday, September 8.